What if there is hope? What if there is life? What if there is truth? Nobody is required to end up being right about everything. Nobody is required to have all the wisdom of the planet. Nobody is required to speak all brilliance, all truth. But the hope is that as we live, we will want to live in truth. The hope is that we will have a love for life. The hope is that the hope that we carry close to our hearts will not simply be for us, but it will be for others as well. To have a productive and a fruitful society, we cannot end up being a people who simply are interested in what is in it for us. We need to be a people who are interested in things that are greater and larger than our own personal benefits. One of the difficulties I feel in politics is often you end up having political parties that are trying to get to a place where they are appealing to people based on what is best for them personally. Often what ends up happening is in the political realm, there are promises that if you vote for a specific politician of a specific party or stripe, they will end up making something better for you individually. One of the things that I think happens is when you become a parent and when you end up having a baby, all of a sudden your focus shifts and changes from what's good for you to what is good for this new life. And as you seek to understand what's good for this new life, things transform, things change, things become different. And what becomes different is all of a sudden you're not self-centered. You are centered around something that is beyond you. And I really think that over the course of the lives that we live, childhood is tough. The transition in terms of moving from the body of a child to having adult hormones and the emotions that accompany them, that's hard too. But I think the whole process of childhood into preteens, into being a teenager, and into moving through this is all designed to take your attention off of yourself and make you more aware of others. And there's some people who do it in a fashion which is extraordinary and wonderful. And there's other people who don't ever get it. And sometimes you run into people who are adults and who are even old, and they have not gotten to a place where they care about that which is beyond them. And that is a loss of resource. That is sadness. That's unfortunate. But ultimately, if you become more like the Lord, if you become more like God, if you do good and excellent and great things, you will end up having a vision and an understanding that's vast, that's broad, and that in some settings is a subset of what God cares about. This is really, really wonderful. This is really neat. If you are a parent, your hope is your children will care for that which is beyond them. If you're a grandparent, you hope that your offspring will care for that which is beyond them. And I am so excited when there are people who care for others, because these are people who, as they get to know God, as they walk with God, as they grow in their spirituality, and as they have matured through the processes that God has put in their lives, they are people who are going to be transformative. And Yeshua, when he was teaching, taught his disciples not simply about themselves, but taught them about the world around them, taught them about geopolitical pressure, taught them about the human heart, taught them about the suffering that happens when people are under the thumb of tyranny, taught them about God's heart in terms of his rejoicing with people, whether it was in small victories or large victories, and in a whole variety of other ways. You take a look at the parables that Yeshua taught and that his early disciples preserved so that we can read them to this very day. It was all about how amazing life in the kingdom of heaven is and what the focus should be for people who draw close to God. This is important that we get this. This is important that transformative things change. This is important that life becomes different because God loves. And I'm so excited that this is offered to all people. And I really trust that as you look back over your life, that you will see areas where the spiritual growth, discipline, and things that you did ended up causing you to care about things that God cared about, not because it was of immediate interest to you, but instead because God wanted it. And I hope that as you take on today's challenges and the things that are coming up in the next weeks and months, that you will end up taking a look at this and you will end up seeing the opportunity for you to care for that which is far beyond you, and that you will give yourself to spiritual growth and development. You will give yourself to transformative things going on in you, and you will give yourself to the things that God cares about, and you will be his hands and feet in terms of changing the world in the days that we're living. Shalom.